You're listening to Awards Magnet, a Gold Derby podcast. Subscribe weekly for new episodes during Emmy and Oscar season, interviews with top awards contenders, and special monthly mailbag episodes. Email us at slugfest@goldderby.com. Now, onto the show. Welcome back to Awards Magnet. I'm Joyce Eng, and today I'm joined by our reality guru, Marcus James Dixon. Marcus, welcome.
Hello, thank you for having me. I'm so nervous.
Why are you so nervous? Denton was nervous last week too.
I know, but I looked at all the comments on YouTube and everyone loved Denton, and I'm like, oh, they're gonna hate me.
Because you have hair.
Yes, exactly.
You could have shaved before today.
And I love that you have the log pillow. All the comments love the log pillow.
You should get one somehow. But you're our reality guru here, so we have you here today to talk about all the fun reality categories. But first, want to know your thoughts on just the Emmy race in general. How are you feeling this season?
I'm really loving it because I love all of the shows in contention, and that's always kind of exciting when you get a personal stake in it. Like, I have shows I'm rooting for and shows I'm rooting against.
What are you anti-dicting?
The ones I'm rooting for are The Studio from Apple for Best Comedy. I that was one of the best pilots I've seen in a long, long time. And I still like My Hacks as well. So I feel like those are the two front runners. So if either of those wins, I'm going to be happy. And then for drama, I love Severance. I love Last of Us. I'm a big genre person, like a nerdy sci-fi fantasy guy. So I think it's going to be one of those or The Pit. I know you've been on The Pit bandwagon forever. And currently at Gold Derby, that is my prediction to win. But it's a really tough race. I don't know what's going to win. And that's also sort of exciting.
Yeah, it's the most open drama race in a really long time. So we thought last year was going to be open, but then Shogun came in to win it all. So
the only thing I don't like about The Pit is the title.
You've mentioned this to me offline before, but what do you have against Pittsburgh?
Because it makes me think of armpits, and that's not a very sophisticated thing that you want voters to be voting for.
It's two T's though.
It is two T's.
Two T's.
Yes. So that's why it's going to win, because that's two T's, not one.
Well, let's get into another one of your favorite shows, The Traitors.
Oh, yeah. I mean, come on.
So it's the reigning reality competition program champ. It ended. I mean, it wasn't the first one to end RuPaul's Drag Race there, but it double ended RuPaul's Drag Race last year because it also won host. But for a reality competition program, I think it's the front runner again.
I think so too. They've done a lot of campaigning here where I live in Hollywood. They had at least 2, maybe 3 FYC events. And one was with Alan Cumming. There was a press event they did with Alan, and like people at the table were told whether they were a traitor or a faithful. And I was a traitor.
Wow.
Surprise. No, not surprised. And they kind of took over one of the really popular gay bars here. And I'm thinking, are they trying to steal the RuPaul's Drag Race fan, like the voting block by doing like kind of a gay event? I totally think that's what they were doing. And it's so smart.
Yeah, you have to hit all the different pockets, you know?
Exactly.
Don't rest on your laurels.
And they did like a traditional FYC event too with Alan and some of the contestants and producers. So they're really going all out. So if campaigning matters, I think they've got it.
I mean, it obviously already helps that it won already, you know, so it's not even going for its first win. But I guess it's like we don't want to lose this, you know, and have like RuPaul win or maybe like another surprise winner. But what's interesting is like this category the past 3 years, it's the most diverse it's been because we've had 3 different winners. Because 3 years ago, it was Lizzo. That was a huge upset over RuPaul. And then 2 years ago, RuPaul won again. And then obviously last year, it was The Traitors. So.
And the thing about Lizzo, why that was so shocking is because she did not get in for host. She was not nominated. And I remember people were thinking, well, I mean, the show doesn't have really a chance if she couldn't even get in. So that was a big shocker. But of course, she didn't come back for season 2. So RuPaul easily won again. I wonder what would have happened if Lizzo season 2 had been against RuPaul last year. Would Lizzo have won again?
Exactly.
We'll never know.
I don't know. And I also felt like the Traitors needed time to build up, just like RuPaul did to get the first win.
I remember talking to people like after season 2. No, it was after season 1 of The Traitors. And they're like, what is that show? I've never heard of that. So you're right. It is like this building momentum, word of mouth keeps growing every year. And a lot of that has to do with the casting. Like when they cast the right person as a traitor or as a faithful, it explodes on social media.
Well, speaking of casting, obviously it draws from other reality shows, including your real fave, Survivor.
Yes.
Which came back in this category 2 years ago.
That was so wild because
it was insane.
It was, I think, 17 years since it had been nominated.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden it comes back in for, I believe that was season 44, which was a really, really good season. But I'm like, I thought they had moved on. Jeff Probst thought they had moved on. I asked him at an event, like, what did you think of the surprise nomination? And he's like, we don't even do FYC events anymore. We use the FYC money for challenges to make our challenges better. So something really weird happened. And then Jeff Probst came back last year again.
Yeah, but then the show was dropped.
which was really weird. Sometimes these voters just do strange things.
I mean, so it's going to be 5 slots again this year, just like it was last year and the year before. So do you think Survivor can return this year?
I think it is returning this year. And there was so you don't watch Survivor. You don't really.
I don't watch Survivor, and the diehard listeners know why. It's a very petty reason.
Wait, does it have to do with Friends?
Yes. So you know this. I've told you this already, but it's because Survivor season 1 premiered in the summer of 2000, and then obviously huge hit, and they fast tracked season 2. And CBS scheduled it on Thursdays at 8, opposite Friends, my favorite show.
Uh-huh.
So I had to take a stand. I was like, I'm never watching Survivor.
And I still never, for you, never means never. You've never gone back on that word.
I've never, I mean, like, I have nothing against Survivor at all. And like nothing even back then. It was just like, it was like the principle. And like I've thought about it, now, but I just feel like it's too much. There's too many seasons now. They're going into season 50.
Yeah.
It's like I can't start.
And it's really funny because somebody on season 50, which is way down the road, that's going to be 2026, is Mike White, who obviously the White Lotus creator, writer, producer, director. So he was not able to campaign for the White Lotus because he's literally on the island right now competing in season 50.
I mean, he sent a video message to their FYC event.
Yes,
so
that's all he could do. Like he can't do anything else.
I mean, the White Lotus doesn't really need to campaign. It's gonna spam the categories again, especially in acting. So I think that's fine. I think he'll be back for phase 2, and we'll see what he does
for
there.
Sure. And he'll be like super skinny. But one of the reasons I think Survivor is coming back is because in season 48, they had this really, really magical moment where this lady with autism.
It's the Joe and Eva moment, right? Yes, I've seen that.
Like they started on the same tribe, then they got separated, and she was kind of having a breakdown. And Jeff kind of broke character if he is playing a character, but he's just said, Joe, would you like to go hug her? So he crossed tribal lines, which never happens on Survivor, to give her a hug. Jeff started crying, and it's the first time in 48 seasons he's ever cried. And I'm like, if that kind of reached enough people, especially voters, then I think that it was such a powerful moment that I think it's going to be the moment that brings Survivor back into this category.
Yeah, and like to your point of them being shocked about their nomination 2 years ago, and they don't even FYC anymore. They FYC now.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yep.
But so then it's the question of if it comes back, who's getting dropped? So 2 years ago, the lineup was Amazing Race, RuPaul, Survivor, Top Chef, The Voice. Last year, it was Amazing Race, RuPaul, Top Chef, The Traitors, and The Voice.
Yeah, I think The Voice is out.
It is in 6th in the odds. I can see it, but I don't know.
I'll just say, like, when Blake Shelton left the show, I feel like sort of magic left The Voice, if there was any magic left after 24 something seasons. And they really haven't gotten that magic back. They tried Snoop Dogg, Reba, Michael Bublé is really good, but there's just something missing now. And they brought Blake back for the finale, in May as a performer, and he kind of reunited with Adam Levine, who also came back this year. So I'm like, are they trying to get Blake back in that big red chair? Because
Yes.
I think the show would be kind of kindled, reimagined if he came back.
So it's won 4 times before RuPaul started its reign. And The Voice basically ended Amazing Race's reign, although there was one year that Amazing Race won 11 years ago and then hasn't won since. I mean, I think Traitors, RuPaul, and Amazing Race, my beloved Tar, are all in. I think like even if Tar never wins again, I think the scope is just undeniable, you know? And I think like this last season was really good too, with like all the different twists that they did in every episode.
Each episode was like, we're bringing back this twist, or here's a new one. It was fun to watch. I don't love that show as much as you do, but I still enjoy it, and it's still high quality. And do you like the 90 minutes?
It's a lot.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I enjoy, you know, seeing more context to the challenges and stuff, or like conversations, but you know, at the end of the day, it's still a TV show, and they have like a narrative or a storyline or storylines they have to get through in each episode for the teams. So, but it's a lot to get through. I mean, how do you feel about Survivor's 90 minutes?
It's perfect. I think Survivor, 2 hours would be too long. Sometimes they do 2-hour episodes, and I'm like, let's move it along, Jeff. But 90 minutes is the sweet spot because, you know, without commercials, it's like an hour or 5 minutes or something like that. And so you get to know the characters more than you would in a 44-minute episode without commercials. And there were some times during Survivor's early years when they would actually produce a challenge and not have time to show it in the episode. So you'd see photos online like, oh, they did a challenge, but the episode's not long enough, so we can't see it. So I think 90 is a great.
Yeah, there's a lot of pluses to that too, like because it's the same thing with Tar, is like sometimes you just don't see like teams like complete a challenge and all of a sudden they're out the mat, you know. So I think it works when there is a lot of good material for an episode, like it's a really good leg,
Yeah,
you know. But sometimes like when the leg is just bad through no one's fault, you know, that it just kind of feels like a drag.
and this season on Tar, I've never called it Tar, by the way. This is breaking news. I'm saying Tar for the first time. I loved the winners. It was the best friend gamers, and they were fun to watch, so uplifting and hopeful. And then you had the villains,
Jonathan and Anna.
Oh my gosh, they were so bad. There was one moment he was like in the back of the car, and he like kind of did this motion like he was slapping her, and I'm like, what is going on? You know you're on television. There's a camera right there. You cannot act like this.
And it like their explanation is just like, this is just what we are, you know.
Yeah,
this is like we just play.
fall like get used to it, people.
Okay, sure. But anyway, I think those 3 are in. I think Top Chef is also in. It's like the classy show, you know what I mean?
It is.
Yeah. So then, yeah, go ahead.
They went to Canada this year. They have Kristen Kish is back for the second time as a host. She won the show years ago. And I think she does kind of bring some excitement to it and some freshness.
Yeah. So then is the last spot between Survivor and The Voice. And The Voice, I feel like it gets in now because it's obviously stopped winning. I feel like it just gets in from inertia. Like,
yeah,
most people don't pay attention to this category, and they just know The Voice has won before or it's always nominated, and they just check it off. I don't know.
Yeah, I think you're right that's 4 and 5. I'm sorry, 5 and 6. And what is your official prediction, Survivor or The Voice?
I'm going Survivor just because I think, you know, the past 2 years, like maybe it's having a renaissance, like with the program nomination 2 years ago, and then Jeff getting back in last year for host. Maybe this is the year they'll get both.
Right. Yeah, I think you're right.
And I don't know. And then maybe it's just like time they move on from The Voice, but I also would not be surprised if The Voice it's just back in there again. No offense to The Voice, but I don't know. It's weird because like, you know, they eventually moved on from like Idol and Dancing with the Stars, you know, and Project Runway. But The Voice is still here, and it obviously doesn't have the same production values as like Tar, you know, that goes around the world. but I don't know. I mean, obviously you're going with Survivor.
Yeah. If I was a voter though, which I'm not, sadly, I would have voted for American Idol to get a nomination because this season was so good. And we had an amazing winner, Jamal Roberts. Actually, he's the first Black man to win the show since Ruben Studdard in season 2. So it's a long time coming, and he's just gone completely viral. Every story we write on him at Gold Derby just goes through the roof. And I know he's now on tour with Brandy.
And
So,
Monica.
and Monica.
The boy is mine. Is he the boy?
I guess he is, yeah. So I would have voted for that as a nominee, but not to win.
I mean, it hasn't been nominated since 2011, right? I think it's been a really long time. I know. I do wonder how. Probably not at all, because like they already stopped nominating. But like the years that it was off the air when it was canceled, by Fox before ABC revived it. I wonder how much that's hurt it. I don't know.
I kind of feel like when Simon left, it was around that time when the nominations stopped pouring in.
Yeah, and then for Ryan too.
Yeah. So wait, I did mention the Traitors FYC event. I feel bad. I want to mention the RuPaul one too. So
okay, to be fair.
Yeah, just to be fair. This season of RuPaul was kind of a water theme. There was a dunk tank where Michelle Visage got dunked. So they had their FYC event at a swimming pool, which was really fun. And the two top queens, the winner, Anya Nerve, and the runner-up, Jewel Sparkles, they did a lot of interviews. They came to the Gold Derby offices and we interviewed them. So they were out. Michelle was out. Some of the producers were out. But, RuPaul himself doesn't really campaign much anymore. So I wonder if that matters.
He doesn't need to, I don't think.
His name's on it. So
yeah. And it's like they're gonna get the nominations, So then it's also interesting what you say about like the winners campaigning of each show. Like I wonder how much that impacts like anything. Like if you love the winners or like the winners are charming enough, or if it's like a villain winning, like do you want to get them out? Maybe you do because like, sometimes you love to hate someone, right? But if it's like a villain that you hate, like you might not want them out as much.
Yeah. And the villains on The Amazing Race we were talking about, I think that's a villain everyone kind of agrees they hate. But
they didn't win.
Yeah. RuPaul's Drag Race, the villains are more lovable.
Yeah, it's more of a cheeky show. So, but yeah, I guess if it's like, the winners of The Voice, right? But, I don't know if people can name like even 2 winners of The Voice. No offense to The Voice again.
I would have to think really hard.
This past season, you get 1. And then another one. Can you do it?
Cam Anthony and
George.
Malin Jarman. Those are my 2.
I'm not even gonna Google it. I'm just gonna trust you. So someone else can Google them and confirm, or maybe Marcus is just making them up. Good.
We'll never know.
Let's go to reality host. Like we said, Alan Cumming won, ended RuPaul's 8-year domination.
8. That's crazy.
And I think he'll just win again.
I mean,
they're lazy here. They're lazy in both categories, but like really lazy at host.
They are. And I remember, a year ago, before the Creative Arts, there was a lot of discussion like, can Alan Cumming do it? Is he the person that finally takes down RuPaul? And I think the predictions were like split. It was like 50% of the people thought RuPaul would just win again, and the other 50% thought Alan. And once Alan won, I'm like, okay, well, the Traitors is winning. Like, because we hadn't seen RuPaul be taken down and host in almost a decade.
No, yeah. And then like the other thing about this category is like they love to rubber stamp, and then once they're done with you, they're done. Like Jeff Probst won the first 4, and then he just completely dropped them until last year.
So weird.
And then Tom Bergeron won once, and Heidi Klum and Tim Gunn won once, and then Jane Lynch won back-to-back, and then it was Ru for 8 years, and then now Alan Cumming. So I don't think they'll go back to Ru. Like that's the one thing they haven't shown they've done is like go back to a former winner who has lost already.
That's really interesting. Yeah, I could. I mean, I think the only way that RuPaul would win again and host is if the Traitors like took a year off.
Alan can just start his own streak now. So who knows? Maybe he'll win 9 in a row.
Maybe. Do you see him? I mean, he's kind of a busy actor on Broadway and in movies and TV. I don't. Do you think he'll do this for a decade?
I mean, how time consuming is it really?
They literally film one a year, and
Exactly.
it's probably less than a month.
Yeah. I mean, like Survivor is like 20 days or something, right?
Yeah, 26.
Yeah. And they do two a season.
Yeah.
And he only does one. So, I mean, it seems like he's just having fun. So
he is. And he is playing a character on the show. He's playing this villainous person that loves the murders and the deception. I mean, Alan is a quirky person in real life, but he definitely is putting on a show.
And I'm assuming you have Jeff getting back in.
I do have him getting back in. And it was for, what I mentioned earlier with the crying. That crying moment really went viral. I think that's going to push him over the edge.
I think also just the general buzz around the 50th season as well is just kind of like Survivor is the granddaddy of reality competition shows, right? So I think there's kind of, I don't know if I call it nostalgia or anything, but just kind of like maybe respect, or it's like, wow, like they've been in the game for so long. And it's like they hit 50 seasons after 25 years.
It is a respect. And look at how many shows out there, The Traitors, House of Villains, that cast Survivor people on their shows. You're never going to see, I guarantee it, Survivor's never going to put someone on that's been on another show. Well, they have in the past, but they've done that with, they hired a Big Brother.
But you mean like the entire cast wouldn't be pulled from like a pool of other like former contestants, others. They'll do like one or two.
Yeah. They love finding their own characters and putting them on, and then laughing as like those characters go off and make it big on other shows. They're like, that's one of our people.
So last year the nominees were Alan Tudyk, one of the Shark Tank hosts, Kristen Kish for Top Chef, Jeff, and Rue. And I can see the lineup being exactly the same.
I could. I right now at Gold Derby, Kristen Kish is in 6th place.
Just Queer Eye is above the Queer Eye dudes who were snubbed last year.
And there's a new Queer Eye host this year, Jeremiah, who is really fun, really, really positive spirit about him. So I wonder if that one little casting change is enough to get the guys back in, the Fab Five.
I mean, I feel like Kristen getting in last year was really big, because like she replaced Padma, who's been nominated like times here before. And it's like, they didn't need to just, transfer out Padma for her. They could have just dropped Top Chef completely. But it feels like they actively voted for Kristen, right?
Wow.
Instead of like passively checking off Top Chef.
And I mean, I think that she was helped by the fact that she was a very popular contestant a decade earlier, and they totally remembered her and they loved her. This was like an anointing. Now they love her as a host as well too. And by the way, Shark Tank, this was Mark Cuban's last season. So the sharks, and they added a new shark too. So this will be a kind of a special moment for those sharks.
So both
get nominated.
Groups of hosts have new people.
New blood, yes.
That'll be cool if someone else other than Rue or Alan wins, but I just don't see it happening.
I know it would be mind-blowing if that happened.
I mean, this category is very boring, just historically. So, but
it's boring because it's so repetitive, and I would love to see more blood, like baking or nailed it.
Nicole Byer.
Yes, she would have been a fantastic winner. She's been nominated several times, but she never pulled it off.
The reality categories, unfortunately, I just don't think they think about as much. I don't think they think about a lot of categories that much, but I think there's also, less viewership of these types of shows as well. So I think it's also kind of like, oh, so-and-so won last year. Or I remember they were nominated last year. I'll just check it off again.
It's all about name recognition. Like, what shows do they like? What shows have they heard of? Who have they seen on the Emmy stage before that they want to just come back again?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think
Yeah,
about Phil Kogan? He hasn't
I
been
love
nominated
Phil.
in a long time.
I think not since like 2011 or 12,
I'm
because
looking.
he also wasn't nominated the first year either.
2012 was his last one. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean he's great. I love Phil, but I don't see it. He'll get his Emmy nomination as a producer on Tar.
that's true.
Yeah, I think that actually that stretch to early 2010s was the most interesting this category has ever been, because they dropped Jeff after his fourth win, and then we had 1 year each of Dancing and Project Runway. And then they just went to Jane Lynch 2 years in a row. And it's not like Hollywood Game Night was a huge show by any means.
Right. I
You
think they
know?
just liked her.
Yes, they like her. They like Jane Lynch. Yeah.
They
So it's
probably had never watched the show.
no.
And there's kind of a dark horse both in series and in host, and that's Beast Games.
Yeah, Mr. Beast.
And I know they were doing some FYC campaigning as well. So I don't know. I would say it's a possibility that we could see the show and this host shake it up a little bit.
Emmy nominee Mr. Beast. What would you say is more likely, host or series?
Ooh, that's a good question. I would say series. And if Beast Games gets in for series, that probably means Survivor is not getting in.
Interesting. I can see him getting in without the show just because he's already a known quantity even before the show. You know what I mean?
I believe his name on the ballot is Jimmy Donaldson instead of Mr. Beast. And I wonder if
Is that a mistake?
Yeah, I think it's a mistake.
They should have put like Mr. Beast quotes.
It is his photo, but it does say Jimmy Donaldson, not Jimmy Mr. Beast Donaldson. That's a mistake. I'm just going to say it right now. That's a mistake.
How many people know his real name?
I didn't.
Until just this moment.
Yeah.
Let's quickly do the structured and unstructured categories. So both of these are going to have 5 again. So last year for structured, Shark Tank won, which is also maybe probably why the hosts got in last year over Queer Eye. But the other nominees were Antiques Roadshow, Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives, Love is Blind, and Queer Eye. But 2 years ago, Queer Eye won, beating Antiques Roadshow, Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives, Love is Blind, and Shark Tank. It could just be the same lineup again.
It very well could be. And, what I was saying earlier about Shark Tank having Mark Cuban, this is his last season. If that matters at all, then it definitely doesn't hurt the show that's his last season. I mean, it brought extra attention to it.
It's weird because like Emmy voters are not generally sentimental, even for like scripted stuff, like Steve Carell's last season of The Office.
Oh, that still makes me mad.
So I don't know how much they'll care about Mark Cuban's last season.
Exactly, yeah. By the way, Antiques Roadshow, 22 nominations total in every category. It's never won a single Emmy.
Is it the Better Call Saul of structured reality programs?
It is. And even before this was a category, it was getting nominated in nonfiction series informational and still losing.
Sad. What if it finally wins this year?
I think that would be really cool. I mean, do we need to see Shark Tank win again? I don't think.
Or Queer Eye? No. So Queer Eye has 6 wins and Shark Tank has 5.
I mean, that's impressive. I think if something else were to break out here, I don't see anyone being upset over that.
No, I mean, like, I've seen an episode here and there of Antiques Roadshow, but it's not like I'm like rooting for it, but it'll be exciting to have a different flavor in the winners lineup here. Like even like Love is Blind, or Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives. So
yeah,
but I don't expect much from them.
I wonder if is Love is Blind a little bit too trashy for this. I mean,
maybe. I don't know.
Queer Eye is very inspirational. Shark Tank is about the
business,
American dream.
Yeah.
And then you have a show where they get engaged after never even seeing the other person. It just doesn't quite fit with the others.
Yeah, I think it's kind of it's like one of those filler nominees. No offense to Love is Blind, it's like watched enough that has enough juice to get in, but it probably will never have enough support to actually win when push comes to shove and you have to pick just one.
So I just pulled up the ballot for this category, just trying to see if there's anything we haven't mentioned. Couples therapy is really hot right now. I keep seeing ads for that. It must be airing right now because it's keeps showing up on my feeds. So I wouldn't count that one out.
I mean, like Showtime's had been doing that show for a while. I haven't watched that since the first season, but it's a good show. I don't know what it's like now, but it's an interesting show.
Another contender, Dr. Pimple Popper, Breaking Out.
I mean, just for the title alone.
I know. It's like a little bit unsophisticated for the Emmys, I think.
Yeah, I haven't heard of quite a few of these, but I have heard of Extreme Makeover.
I know. I can't believe that's still on.
I know. But it's won before. I think it's won before. When it was like a different name, I think, or a different title.
Trixie Mattel from RuPaul's Drag Race has a show called Trixie Motel, Drag Me Home, which I haven't seen, but just based on that title, I'm going to go watch it right after we're done recording.
I mean, like, what if it gets in? Just a coattail?
Yeah. Remember there was the year that the Untucked after show won, and that was just like lack of competition.
Yeah.
That was over in Unstructured.
Well, speaking of Unstructured, you were mentioning a breakout hit earlier before we started recording. Dallas Cowboys Cheerleaders, season 2, out now.
America's Sweethearts, Netflix. It's really, really popular, especially, it was popular during the voting period, which just ended. And that definitely is going to help it get, I think it's a lock for nomination.
Oh, a lock. Wow.
Lock it in.
So last year, Welcome to Wrexham has won the past 2 years. It'll probably win again. The last year, the nominees, besides Wrexham, were Below Deck Down Under, Love on the Spectrum US, RuPaul's Drag Race Untucked, and Vanderpump Rules.
A lot of very different shows. I would say Love on the Spectrum has my heart, and this show has won before, right? Yeah, it won in 2022 for its first season, and it won casting and it won directing. So they definitely love the show. And I imagine it was probably second place last year to Wrexham. So that was season 2. Now we're in season 3 of Love on the Spectrum. They have brand new characters and returning favorites. I'm saying this is a dark horse to win.
Okay. So you still have Wrexham winning, but I do. Love on the Spectrum too?
Yeah, I have Wrexham winning just from inertia. They just, when they love something, they love something.
Yeah, I mean, I can see just these same nominees again, just like in Structured.
Here's some other shows on the ballot for Unstructured. Bailin' Out Loud, which was about a girl with Tourette's syndrome. That was really popular and very respected and sophisticated. All good things when you're campaigning for an Emmy. Hoarders. I'm a Hoarders fan. Are you?
No, I have not watched that in years, like decades probably.
I will watch it and then watch it again and be like, have I seen this one? I don't care. I'm just going to keep watching.
You hoard the episodes.
Jersey Shore Family Vacation is still running strong, everybody, and that's eligible for an Emmy. Life Below Zero. Now, that's a show that always wins the below the line categories. And it's funny that it didn't get in last year for series.
I think it's just because it's like niche probably, but it's able to win below the line because it's like branch voting,
It looks like it only got in once for series in 2019, so it's been a while. Muslim Matchmaker, Naked and Afraid, 90 Day Fiance. I mean, you watch all
Incredible.
These.
They're my favorite shows. Well, what about another breakout hit, The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives?
Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you brought that up. I interviewed the producer about season 2, which dropped all on the same day about a month or so ago, like right around the time Emmy voting was about to start. So, and you're right, it is a breakout hit, and it's very naughty. Like it makes my face turn red, and you have to watch it alone, not watch it with anyone else because it'll make you uncomfortable in a good way.
And like you're not really like a pearl clutcher by any means, so but it makes you blush. Wow.
I mean, there was a storyline with Fruity Pebbles that I'll tell you offline.
Okay. Not safe for work.
Not at all. But yeah, I think that could get in. I'm wondering if maybe RuPaul's Drag Race Untucked is vulnerable.
No.
I mean, I love RuPaul's Drag Race, but Untucked is kind of an afterthought, literally. It's like, it's not a great show. It's just people sitting around couches talking.
So you're basically saying like it's benefiting from having RuPaul's Drag Race in the title.
Yeah. I mean, if it was just called Untucked, we wouldn't even be talking.
Yeah. Well, I guess like maybe that's another possibility too. Like if Drag Race in general is on the downswing with Traitors on the upswing, like maybe it'll start losing these kind of peripheral nominations, even though this is obviously a different show.
Right.
But it's like a Coachella nomination off of that parade. So it's like it's not gonna lose like competition program or hosts yet, right? But maybe it loses this.
Yeah, if Untucked gets snubbed in Unstructured Reality, you heard it here first.
You're planting your flag for it.
I am.
Yeah, this has been fun, Marcus. Thanks so much. With all your reality takes.
I can't wait to read all the negative comments about me.
About your hair. It's just your hair. You have hair. I told you to shave before this.
I'll shave next time. But thank you for having me. This has been a pleasure.
Of course. Yeah, we'll have Marcus back eventually at some point. Next week, we'll probably do a mailbag episode. We haven't done one in a while. So send in all your questions to slugfests@goldderby.com. We'll answer as many as we can before nominations. And we'll see you all next week. Bye. Thanks for listening to Awards Magnet, a Gold Derby podcast. Like what you heard? Leave us a review wherever you listen to podcasts. Awards Magnet is produced by Andrew Merrill. Our logo is designed by Chelsea Sikora. Please like and subscribe to stay on top of all the awards news and email us at slugfests@goldderby.com.